Have you ever walked into a room, looked around, and felt like it was just too full? Not with people, but with things, memories, obligations, unspoken regrets, and silent clutter. As we get older, we don't just carry what's in our hands. We carry what's in our hearts and minds too. So here's a gentle question. What if the peace you've been searching for isn't something you need to chase, but something you need to make room for? Turning 70 is not an ending, it's a beautiful beginning. A time when wisdom becomes your compass and simplicity becomes your greatest treasure. In today's video, we'll explore 8 things you can lovingly let go of, not as a loss, but as a gift to yourself. Things that may be quietly stealing your joy, your space, and your peace of mind. Let's walk this path together toward lightness, clarity, and the kind of happiness that feels deep, not loud. If that sounds like something your heart needs right now, stay with me. And if this message speaks to you, I'd be honored if you gently tap the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so we can keep walking together, one peaceful step at a time. 1. Physical clutter, unused belongings. Over the years, we gather more than just things. We gather moments, memories, and meaning. A teacup passed down from your mother, a box of letters from a time when life moved a little slower, a sweater that reminds you of a younger, more daring version of yourself. These items don't just sit on shelves or in closets, they sit in our hearts too. But as time goes on, the things that once brought comfort can quietly begin to weigh us down. Cabinets overflow, attics become time capsules we rarely open, and one day you might find yourself looking around and thinking, why does everything feel so heavy? After 70, life invites us into a new kind of freedom, one where less truly becomes more. This isn't about throwing everything away, it's about choosing what stays with love and intention. That photo album filled with family smiles, keep it close. The worn armchair where you sip your tea and watch the birds, that's your sanctuary. But the third set of dishes tucked away, just in case, the old electronics collecting dust, or the clothes that haven't fit in years, they may be quietly asking for release. Letting go of physical clutter is not about letting go of your past. It's about creating space for your present. Start gently. Maybe it's one drawer, one shelf, one box. Hold each item and ask yourself, does this still bring me joy? Or has it already served its purpose? You'll be surprised at how freeing it feels to say goodbye to what no longer belongs in this season of your life. And here's a beautiful thought. What you no longer need could become a blessing for someone else. A young couple setting up their first home, a neighbor who's fallen on hard times, a local charity looking for gently used goods. When you pass something on, you're not just decluttering, you're giving that item a second life, and perhaps a second chance for someone else. Imagine walking into your home and feeling lightness, knowing that everything around you has a reason to be there, that your home is a reflection of who you are now, not just who you once were. It becomes a place where peace can settle in and where joy isn't hidden under stacks of boxes. Letting go isn't losing, it's choosing. Choosing space over stuff, clarity over clutter. It's a quiet act of self-love, a way of saying, my life today matters too. And in that space you clear, physically and emotionally, there's room for something truly precious, peace. 2. Toxic relationships. By the time you've reached 70, you've lived a lifetime of relationships, some that have warmed your soul and others that may have quietly worn you down. And now in this chapter of life, your peace of mind is no longer just a luxury, it's a necessity. Let's be honest, not every relationship ages gracefully. Some connections, though long-standing, begin to feel more like emotional weight than shared joy. Maybe it's a friend who only calls to complain, never once asking how you are. Or perhaps a family member whose words, even if wrapped in politeness, always seem to leave you feeling small or unworthy. Sometimes the hardest relationships aren't loud with conflict. They're quiet with neglect, where you feel invisible, like you no longer matter. But here's the truth, spoken from one heart to another. You are not too old to set new boundaries. You are not too late to choose peace over pressure. Letting go of toxic relationships doesn't mean you're bitter or unforgiving. It means you're finally ready to stop sacrificing your well-being for the sake of keeping the peace with those who don't bring you peace in return. This decision is rarely simple. Many of these relationships are tangled in years of shared history, family dynamics, or feelings of guilt. You may wonder, what will they think? Or worry that stepping back means you failed somehow. But choosing your mental and emotional health is not selfish. It's one of the kindest things you can do for yourself. You don't always have to shut the door completely. Sometimes it's enough to create gentle distance. Maybe you limit the time spent with certain people. Maybe you shift the conversation to safer, more neutral topics. Or maybe you simply give yourself permission to stop trying so hard to maintain what no longer feels mutual. Just imagine what life could feel like if you gave yourself that freedom. Imagine days filled with kind voices, shared laughter, and the quiet comfort of being truly seen. Picture a circle of people who lift you up, who listen with warmth, and who bring light into your life instead of shadows. You've spent decades giving to others, showing up, doing your best. Now it's your turn. You deserve relationships that nourish your spirit, not drain it. You deserve to be surrounded by kindness, respect, and genuine care. This is your golden time, and part of honoring it is protecting it. Let go of what weighs heavy on your heart. Make space for love that feels light and true, because the most beautiful years can still be ahead, especially when shared with people who bring peace into your soul simply by being there. 3. Unnecessary responsibilities. By the time you reach your 70s, you've worn many hats: parent, partner, provider, caregiver, organizer, peacemaker. You've poured yourself into work, family, and community. And for much of your life, those responsibilities gave you meaning, direction, even pride. But now the question gently arises: do all these roles still serve you? Or are some simply weighing you down? In this season of life, you deserve to move through your days with more ease. Yet too often we continue carrying responsibilities that no longer bring us joy, simply because we always have. Maybe you're still the one family calls when there's a problem to fix. Or perhaps you're maintaining routines and traditions that feel more exhausting than enriching. Even the home you once cherished might now feel overwhelming to manage. Letting go of unnecessary responsibilities doesn't mean giving up. It means growing into a new rhythm, one that centers your well-being. It's about choosing where your energy goes so that your time is spent on what nourishes you, not what drains you. If your home has become more burden than comfort, it's okay to consider downsizing. A smaller, simpler space might bring more peace than any grand garden ever could. If loved ones depend on you too much, it's okay to step back with grace, offering support without sacrificing your own serenity. And if you're holding on to commitments out of habit or guilt, remember, your life no longer needs to be lived for obligation. It can now be shaped by choice. Of course, stepping back can stir up emotion. You might wrestle with guilt, especially if you've long found purpose in being the one others rely on. But self-care isn't selfish. In fact, it's one of the greatest acts of love for yourself and for those around you. When your cup is full, you can give from a place of joy, not exhaustion. Picture waking up with no to-do list tugging at your sleeve. Imagine sipping your morning tea without the weight of 100 tasks on your shoulders. Envision a day that unfolds gently, filled with walks, laughter, a good book, or simply the quiet pleasure of being still. This isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing only what matters most. It's about reclaiming your time, your most precious gift, and spending it in ways that honor the life you've built and the soul you're still tending. Letting go of unnecessary responsibilities is not giving up on life. It's stepping into a version of life that finally fits you, soft, spacious, and full of meaning. Because you've carried enough. Now it's your time to rest, breathe, and truly live. 4. Negative self-talk and regrets. One of the quietest weights we carry into our later years isn't found in our homes or on our calendars. It lives in our own minds. And sometimes it speaks in the voice of regret, or in those soft, sharp whispers of self-doubt. Why did I do that? If only I had. I should have known better. By the time you've reached your 70s, you've lived through love, loss, joy, missteps, and moments that didn't unfold the way you hoped. That's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of life, a full, complex, deeply human life. And yet those lingering regrets can act like shadows, always following, even on the sunniest days. Maybe you think about a dream that slipped away, a relationship that changed course, or choices you would make differently if given the chance. These thoughts can sneak in quietly and stay far too long, convincing you that you should have been more, done more, known more. But here's a truth worth holding on to. You are not the mistakes you made. You are the strength that carried you through them. Negative self-talk is perhaps even more damaging than regret. It doesn't just revisit the past, it rewrites it cruelly. It says, you weren't enough, when in fact, you were doing the best you could with what you had and who you were at the time. Would you ever speak to your dearest friend the way you sometimes speak to yourself? Then why speak to your own heart with such hardness? It's time to offer yourself the same compassion you've so freely given to others. Letting go of regret isn't about denying the past. It's about gently releasing its grip. It's about saying, yes, that happened. Yes, I've learned. And yes, I'm still here, growing. Forgiveness isn't just for those we love, it's for ourselves too. And when we forgive ourselves, we unlock a sense of peace that no one else can give us. Try this. When an old regret surfaces, gently shift the story. Instead of thinking, I failed, say, I was learning. Instead of, I should have known, try, I did the best I could with the heart I had then. Let your life be defined not by the hard moments, but by the courage it took to keep going. And don't forget to return to the present. This moment, this breath, is all that truly belongs to you. Let it be a soft place to land. Whether it's sitting beneath a tree, journaling quietly, or simply noticing the birds outside your window, these little moments anchor you in the now, where regret cannot reach you. You've carried so much. Now let your heart be light. Let your inner voice be kind. Let yourself rest in the truth that you are enough, always have been, and still are. Because the beauty of your life isn't in the flawless moments. It's in the way you kept going, kept loving, kept becoming. 5. Unhealthy habits. By the time you reach your 70s, your body has already walked miles on your behalf. It has held joy, endured pain, carried memories, and weathered change. And now more than ever, it gently asks for your care, your attention, and your kindness. Not as a demand, but as an invitation. Yet many of us carry with us quiet habits, unhealthy routines we've grown used to, or perhaps even stopped noticing. They're not always dramatic or obvious. Sometimes they appear as small daily choices, skipping breakfast, staying seated too long, avoiding checkups, or reaching for what's convenient instead of what's nourishing. At first, these choices seem harmless, but over time, they quietly chip away at our energy, our comfort, and the joy we could be feeling. And health isn't just physical, it lives in our thoughts, our emotions, and how we care for our minds. Watching the news too often, dwelling on worst-case scenarios, or isolating ourselves from others. These are habits too. They may have slipped into our routines without asking permission, but they don't have to stay. Here's the beautiful truth. Change is still possible. No matter how long a habit has lived with you, you have the power to gently thank it and let it go. It starts with awareness. Ask yourself honestly, is this habit helping me feel more alive? Or has it just become something I do out of comfort or fear? You don't need to overhaul your life in one sweeping motion. Begin with one small shift. Swap the morning rush for a quiet, nourishing breakfast. Replace a half hour of scrolling with music that makes you smile. Trade an afternoon nap for a short walk in the sunshine or a few stretches near the window. These aren't drastic changes. They're gentle reorientations toward life. And when the journey feels challenging, because yes, change takes effort, remember this. You don't have to do it alone. Whether it's a doctor, a nutritionist, a walking buddy, or a neighbor who shares your goals, support is not a sign of weakness. It's a bridge toward a better you. Picture waking up and feeling a little stronger, a little lighter. Picture yourself doing the things you love, not out of obligation, but because your body and spirit feel ready to enjoy them. That's the gift of releasing unhealthy habits. Not to dwell on what could have been, but to embrace what can still be. You've spent your life caring for others. Now it's time to care deeply for yourself. Letting go of what no longer serves you is not about control. It's about freedom. The freedom to feel good, to move with more ease, to smile more often, and to live each day not in survival, but in joy. Because your health is not just the foundation of your life, it's the canvas on which the rest of your beautiful story continues to unfold. 6. Outdated beliefs. Throughout life, we carry beliefs like lanterns, lighting our path, shaping how we see the world, and guiding the choices we make. Many of those beliefs served us well. They offered comfort, structure, even identity. But as we reach our 70s, it's worth pausing to ask, are these beliefs still lighting my way, or are they quietly holding me back? Some of these thoughts may be so familiar, we no longer question them. I'm too old to try something new. Change is risky. I shouldn't bother people by asking for help. Or perhaps, I've done enough. It's too late to start again. These ideas often aren't born from truth, but from fear, habit, or the voices of others long ago. And though they may have once made sense, they may no longer reflect the person you've become or the life you still want to live. Letting go of outdated beliefs doesn't mean forgetting your past. In fact, it's the opposite. It means honoring your growth by making room for new ways of thinking. You've already adapted through countless seasons of change. You've learned, unlearned, and risen again. Why should that stop now? You are not too old to learn how to use a smartphone, to dance in your kitchen, to start painting or join a book club, or try something you've always put off. You are not set in your ways. You are still becoming, still discovering. What if instead of saying, I can't, you gently whispered, maybe I could? What if you replaced, it's too late, with now is as good a time as any? That shift, however small, is where freedom begins. The beauty of aging isn't in staying the same, it's in giving yourself permission to keep evolving. Releasing old beliefs allows you to see each day as an open door, not a closed chapter. And walking through that door, that's where joy lives. That's where you get to rewrite the rules on your own terms. Because the truth is, the most powerful thing you can believe at this age is that it's never too late to believe something new. 7. Financial worries that no longer apply. By the time you've reached your 70s, you've likely spent a lifetime being wise with money, saving diligently, sacrificing when needed, and planning ahead with care. Those habits may have been born from necessity, raising children, weathering hard times, preparing for an unknown future. And those instincts, they served you well. They helped you get here. But now that you are here, in the chapter you once planned for, it may be time to ask, are those old financial worries still protecting you? Or are they quietly stealing your peace? It's not uncommon to feel hesitant when spending, even on things that bring joy. Maybe you second-guess treating yourself to a nice meal, a trip, or something that simply makes life easier. Maybe you still feel a twinge of guilt dipping into your savings, even though that's exactly what they were meant for. This caution comes from love, from responsibility. But if it's become a constant whisper of what if in your mind, it may no longer be serving you. Let this be your reminder. You've done the hard part. You planned, you saved, you sacrificed, and now you get to live. That doesn't mean spending recklessly. It means giving yourself permission to enjoy what you've worked for. Whether it's a cozy chair that eases your back, a class that excites your mind, a weekly coffee with friends, or helping a grandchild reach their dreams, these are not luxuries. They're expressions of love for yourself and for others. If you still feel uneasy, consider sitting down with a trusted financial advisor. Sometimes the simple clarity of seeing things laid out can replace fear with peace. And from that peace, you can begin making choices not out of worry, but from a place of confidence and gratitude. Because at this stage, the true value of money is not in how tightly it's held, but in how fully it's used to enrich your days, deepen your connections, and lighten your spirit. You've earned this freedom. Let yourself feel it. 8. Fear of change. By the time you've reached your 70s, change can feel more like a disruption than an invitation. Familiar routines bring comfort. Known places, known faces, they feel safe. So when change knocks, whether it's downsizing, learning new technology, or adjusting to life's shifting rhythms, it's understandable to hesitate. But here's a gentle truth. Change isn't here to take something from you. It's here to give you something new. The fear of change often hides in the hope that things can stay the same forever. But deep down, you already know life is change, and you've navigated it beautifully time and time again. Every chapter you've lived has shaped your strength, your grace, your wisdom. So what if this next chapter is asking not for fear, but for curiosity? Imagine trading the upkeep of a big house for more time to rest, connect, and explore. Imagine saying yes to a new hobby or community and finding joy you didn't know you were missing. Change doesn't ask you to forget who you were. It invites you to become more of who you truly are. Letting go of the fear of change is a gift you give yourself. The freedom to keep growing, discovering, and living fully, no matter your age. Because life isn't over, it's unfolding, and there's still so much beauty waiting to meet you. Embrace what matters. Life after 70 is not about holding on. It's about knowing what to lovingly release so your heart has space to breathe, to feel, and to truly live. Letting go isn't loss, it's clarity. It's the quiet courage to choose joy, simplicity, and peace over weight you no longer need to carry. You've earned the right to live gently, fully, and on your own terms. Now take a moment. What's one thing you feel ready to let go of? Comment below, letting go. If this video spoke to you, feel free to like or share it with someone you care about. And if you'd like to keep walking this journey with us, subscribe for more gentle wisdom and heartfelt reminders. The next video will be all about the habits that add years to your life and life to your years. Until then, stay kind to yourself. You're doing beautifully.